Dr. Velik pressed her three-fingered hand against the observation window of the Harmony's edge. The blue planet below looked peaceful from space, but the readings on her scanner told a different story. This world was trying to kill everything on it. Commander Zethara, she called to the tall, silver-skinned figure standing near the ship's center console. These readings cannot be correct. The commander's purple eyes shifted to look at her. What is wrong, Doctor? This planet has natural disasters happening everywhere. Earthquakes, storms, floods, fires. The temperature changes are extreme. There are poisonous plants and dangerous animals. Even the air has too much oxygen. Velik shook her head. Nothing intelligent should be able to survive here. Zethara walked over to join her at the window. But our sensors show cities, technology, signs of civilization. That is what confuses me, Velik said. The beings down there have no natural armor, no thick skin, no poison glands. They are small and weak. How did they survive on this death world? The ship's science officer, a blue-scaled creature named Crix, looked up from his station. Commander, I am detecting something strange. These beings called humans are doing things that make no sense. Show me, Zethara said. Crix activated the main screen. Images from the planet's surface appeared. Velik watched in shock as humans threw themselves from high cliffs with only thin fabric to slow their fall. Others dove deep underwater without breathing equipment. Some rode down steep mountains on pieces of wood, moving at dangerous speeds. Are they trying to kill themselves? Velik asked. I do not think so, Crix replied. Our translators picked up their word for this. They call it fun? Velik felt her stomach twist. These humans did dangerous things for enjoyment. No civilized species would take such risks for pleasure. Look at this, Crix said, showing another image. A group of humans was climbing a tall mountain. The weather was terrible. Ice and wind made every step dangerous. 3 of them have already fallen and been injured. But the others keep going. Why? Zethara asked. Because it is there? Crix read from the translation. That is what they said. Velik sat down hard in her chair. In her 200 years of studying alien life, she had never seen anything like this. Every intelligent species she knew followed basic rules. Avoid danger, preserve life, take no unnecessary risks. These humans broke every rule of survival. Commander, Crix said, I am reading something else. They have weapons that can destroy their entire planet many times over. But they have not used them. That is good news, Zethara said. The strange part is why they have not used them. Our intercepts show they have had several chances. Wars, conflicts, moments when their leaders were angry. But each time, they stopped themselves. Velik pulled up more data on her screen. Their history shows they fight each other often. But they also help each other. During natural disasters, they risk their own lives to save strangers. They give food to those who have none, even when they do not have much themselves. I am detecting something else, Crix said. Their space program. They strap themselves to controlled explosions and shoot into space. Many of their early attempts failed. People died. But they kept trying. On the screen, they watched a human space station orbiting the planet. Humans were outside the station, floating in the deadly emptiness of space with only thin suits protecting them. They were fixing something on the station's hull. No safety tethers, Velik whispered. They are working in open space with no backup systems. Wait, Crix said. One of their suits has been damaged. Air is leaking out. Velik watched as another human immediately moved toward the injured one. Without hesitation, the rescuer shared his own air supply, putting himself at risk to save his companion. Fascinating, Zethara said quietly. Velik spent the next several hours studying human behavior patterns. What she found made no sense according to everything she knew about evolution and survival. Humans regularly put themselves in danger to help others. They explored places that could kill them just to learn new things. They created art and music instead of focusing only on survival. They even kept small animals as companions, sharing their food and shelter with creatures that gave them nothing in return. "Commander," Valak said finally, "I need to understand these beings better. They should not exist, but they do. They should have died out long ago, but instead they have thrived. There is something about them that we are missing." Zethara nodded slowly. "The Galactic Council sent us to explore this system because of the unusual energy readings. But I think we have found something more important than energy. We have found a species that might teach us something new about survival." "What do you mean?" Valak asked. "Look at us, Doctor. Our species have lived for millions of years by being careful. We avoid risks. We plan everything. We have created a safe, stable civilization that spans many worlds. But what have we lost along the way?" Valak thought about this. The Galactic Council had not faced a real challenge in thousands of years. They had grown comfortable, predictable. When was the last time any council species had done something truly new or exciting? "We should make contact," Zethara said. "These humans might be primitive by our standards, but they have something we do not. They have learned to live with danger and uncertainty. Maybe they can teach us to do the same. Contact with a pre-space civilization is against regulations," Crix pointed out. "So is letting a unique species destroy itself through ignorance," Zethara replied. "Look at their pollution levels, their climate changes, their resource depletion. They need help, or they will not survive much longer." Valak looked at the blue planet again. Down there, billions of humans were living, loving, laughing, and taking risks that would terrify most galactic citizens. They were creating beauty and knowledge and hope in a world that seemed designed to crush them. "Can we assist them?" Zethara asked. Valak thought about everything she had observed. These humans were strange, unpredictable, and dangerous to themselves. They did things no rational being would do. They took risks that defied logic. But they had also survived on a world that should have killed them long ago. There was something special about them, something worth preserving. She looked up at her commander and nodded firmly. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "We must try." The first meeting between humans and the Galactic Council took place in a large conference room in New York City. Dr. Valak sat across from a group of human representatives, trying not to show her nervousness. After weeks of careful preparation, this moment would determine whether contact between their species would succeed or fail. "Welcome to Earth," said Dr. Sarah Chun, a human scientist who seemed to be their spokesperson. "We are honored to meet you." Valak noted how calm the humans appeared. Most species showed fear or excitement during first contact. These humans acted as if meeting aliens was something they did every day. "We are pleased to meet you as well," Valak replied through the translation device. "We have come to offer assistance to your people." Commander Zethara stepped forward. "We have observed your world and see many challenges you face. We can help with clean energy, medicine, and space travel technology." The humans exchanged glances. Dr. Chun smiled. "That is very generous. We would be grateful for your help with some things. But we should discuss what kind of help we actually need." Valak blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" "Wow," said Dr. Chun. "We noticed your people have amazing food synthesizers that can create any meal instantly. That's incredible technology. But we prefer to grow our own food and cook it ourselves." "But your farming methods are dangerous," said Crix, who had joined them for the meeting. "Your crops can fail. Weather can destroy harvests. Animals and insects eat your plants. Our synthesizers would solve all these problems." True, said another human, a man named Dr. Roberts. But we enjoy the taste of real food, the variety, the surprise when we try something new, even the challenge of growing it ourselves. Valak felt confused. You want to keep the dangerous, unpredictable method instead of the safe, reliable one? For this, yes, Dr. Chan said. Though we would love to learn about your technology. Maybe we could use it for emergency situations or space travel. The meeting continued with more surprises. The Galactic Council offered to strengthen human bodies, making them more durable and longer-lived. The humans thanked them politely, but said they were fine as they were. Your emotional responses cause you many problems, as Thera pointed out. Anger leads to conflicts. Sadness causes depression. Fear makes you unable to think clearly. We could modify your genetics to reduce these feelings. Dr. Roberts shook his head. Our emotions are not flaws to be fixed. They are part of what makes us human. Yes, anger can cause problems, but it also drives us to fight against injustice. Sadness helps us appreciate happiness. Fear keeps us alive in dangerous situations. But surely you would want to live longer lives? Valak asked. Maybe someday, Dr. Chun said. But right now, knowing our time is limited makes it precious. It pushes us to accomplish things quickly, to make every day count. If we live for thousands of years like you do, we might become lazy and stop trying new things. Valak was beginning to understand something important. Humans did not see their limitations as problems to be solved. They saw them as features that made life interesting. Over the following days, Dr. Valak worked closely with human scientists. She was amazed by how they approached problems. When faced with a challenge, Galactic Council scientists would carefully research all known solutions, choose the safest option, and test it thoroughly before implementation. Humans did things differently. She watched Dr. Roberts fix a broken piece of equipment by taking it apart and rebuilding it in a completely new way. He ignored the instruction manual and bypassed several safety systems. Are you not worried about damaging it? Valak asked. A little, Dr. Roberts admitted. But the old way was not working. Sometimes you have to take risks to find better solutions. The device worked perfectly when he finished. Another time, Valak observed a group of human engineers designing a new spacecraft. They had access to all the Galactic Council's safe, proven designs. Instead, they created something entirely new. It was smaller, faster, and more maneuverable than anything the Council had built. Your design violates 3 fundamental principles of spacecraft safety, Valak told them. Which ones? Asked the lead engineer. You have no backup life support system. Your engine power exceeds safety recommendations. And your hull is too thin to protect against most impacts. The engineer nodded. True, but our design can avoid most dangers instead of just surviving them. Speed and agility are sometimes better protection than thick armor. Valak realized this was how humans thought about everything. Where her people built strong defenses, humans preferred mobility and adaptability. Where the Council made detailed long-term plans, humans were ready to change direction quickly when circumstances changed. The cultural exchange became more complex when humans started asking questions about Galactic Council society. How often do your people try completely new things? Dr. Chun asked. We prefer to improve existing methods rather than replace them, Valak explained. Change is risky and often unnecessary. When was the last time someone from your species did something that had never been done before? Valak thought about this for a long time. I cannot remember. That explains a lot, Dr. Roberts said quietly. What do you mean? Your technology is incredibly advanced, but it's all very similar. Same basic designs, same approaches to problems. You've perfected existing ideas, but stopped creating new ones. Dr. Chun leaned forward. We have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. Because our world is dangerous and unpredictable, we have to constantly find new solutions to survive. That's what drives innovation. Velok began to see why humans were so different. The Galactic Council had made life safe and comfortable for their species. There was no pressure to change or adapt. Humans lived with constant challenges that forced them to keep growing and learning. But this understanding created new problems. The Council had expected humans to be grateful for their help and eager to join galactic civilization. Instead, humans were politely declining most offers and asking uncomfortable questions about Council society. Some Council members began to worry that contact with humans had been a mistake. These primitive beings were challenging thousands of years of galactic wisdom with their reckless attitudes and dangerous ideas. Commander Zethura called Velok to his quarters one evening. The Council is concerned, he said. They think human influence might be harmful to our people. Some want to end contact and classify this planet as off-limits. Velok felt something she had rarely experienced before: anger. The thought of abandoning these remarkable beings, of letting them face their challenges alone, seemed wrong. Commander, she said, I think we are looking at this backward. We came here thinking we could help humans. But maybe they are the ones who can help us. We have become so focused on safety and stability that we have stopped growing. Humans could teach us to embrace uncertainty and find strength in our differences. Zethura was quiet for a long moment. That is a dangerous idea, Doctor. Yes, Velok said, and realized she was beginning to think like a human. But it might also be necessary. The alarm sounded throughout the Harmony's Edge at 0347 ship time. Dr. Velok woke instantly, her heart racing as the emergency lighting bathed her quarters in red. She had never heard this particular alarm before, but she knew what it meant. The Council was in grave danger. Commander, Sithara's voice echoed through the ship's communication system. All senior staff to the bridge immediately. We have received a priority distress signal. Velok rushed to the bridge, still wearing her sleeping robes. She found Zethura standing over the communications console, his usually calm face tight with worry. Crix and the other officers were already at their stations, fingers flying over their controls. What is happening? Velok asked. The Kepler 442 system, Zethura replied grimly. 3 colony worlds with over 50 million Council citizens. They are under attack by something we have never seen before. On the main screen, a recorded message appeared. The image was broken and filled with static, but Velok could see a desperate Council official speaking rapidly. Emergency transmission from Kepler 442 Central Command. The recording began. We are under attack by unknown mechanical entities. They appeared without warning 6 days ago and began systematic destruction of our defensive systems. These machines learn from every engagement. They adapt to our weapons and tactics within hours. Our fleets are being destroyed faster than we can deploy them. The message cut to images of the attack. Massive mechanical ships, unlike anything in the galactic databases, swarmed around Council vessels. They moved with perfect coordination, their weapons cutting through shields and armor that should have been impenetrable. They consume biological matter, the recorded message continued. Any organic life they capture is broken down and used to fuel their expansion. They have already taken the outer colonies. We estimate 48 hours before they reach the main population centers. The transmission ended with a burst of static. When was this received? Velok asked. 20 minutes ago, Crix replied. But the transmission was sent 36 hours ago. By now, he did not need to finish. By now, the main colonies might already be gone. What is the Council's response? Valak asked. Zethara brought up tactical displays. Every available fleet is moving toward Kepler 442, but they will not arrive in time. The nearest forces are still 60 hours away. And evacuation? The transport ships cannot reach the system before the enemy arrives at the population centers. Even if they could, there's no way to evacuate 50 million beings in time. Valak felt sick. This was the Council's worst nightmare, a threat they could not understand or counter, moving too fast for their careful, methodical response procedures. "Commander," Crick said, "I am receiving tactical reports from the advanced scouts. The enemy machines are unlike anything we have encountered. They appear to be artificial intelligences, but they adapt and evolve in real time. Every strategy our forces use against them is analyzed and countered within hours." Zethara studied the tactical data. "Our military doctrine is based on proven strategies developed over thousands of years. We rely on superior technology and careful planning. But if the enemy can adapt to anything we do, then all our advantages become meaningless." Valak finished. The bridge fell silent except for the humming of the ship's systems. 50 million Council citizens were about to die, and there was nothing the most advanced civilization in the galaxy could do to stop it. "Commander," came a voice from the communication station. "We are receiving a transmission from Earth." Everyone turned to look. On the screen, Dr. Sarah Chun appeared, along with several other humans Valak recognized from their cultural exchanges. "We intercepted your emergency transmissions," Dr. Chun said, without introduction. "We know about the attack on your colonies." "Dr. Chun," Zethara replied, "this is not a matter for your concern. This is a Council military situation. With respect, Commander, 50 million innocent beings are about to die. That makes it everyone's concern." Dr. Chun's voice was calm but firm. "We want to help." Crix made a sound that was almost a laugh. "Doctor, with all due respect to your species, what could humans possibly do that the combined fleets of the Galactic Council cannot?" Dr. Chun looked directly at him. "We can think differently than you do." Valak felt something stir in her chest. During their weeks of cultural exchange, she had learned that humans approached problems in ways that often surprised her. Could their different perspective actually be useful in this situation? "Explain," Zethara said. "Your enemy adapts to your strategies because your strategies follow logical patterns," Dr. Chun replied. "You use the same fundamental approaches to warfare that you have used for thousands of years. You are predictable." "Our methods are proven and effective," Zethara said. But Valak could hear uncertainty in his voice. "Against enemies who follow the same rules you do," said another human, a military officer named Colonel Martinez. "But these machines are not following any rules. They are pure adaptation. To beat them, you need to be unpredictable. Humans are very good at being unpredictable." Dr. Chun added with what Valak had learned was called a smile. Zethara looked around the bridge at his officers. Valak could see the conflict in his eyes. Council protocols were clear. Primitive species were not to be involved in military operations. But the protocols had never anticipated a situation like this. "What are you proposing?" he asked finally. "Joint command," Colonel Martinez said immediately. "Human tactical advisors working with your military commanders. We study the situation and develop strategies that the machines will not expect because they are not logical or safe by your standards." "Absolutely not," Crick said. "Humans have no experience with space warfare. Their primitive weapons and tactics would be useless against advanced enemies." "You're right," Dr. Chen agreed. "We do not have your technology or experience. But we have something else. The willingness to try crazy ideas that might not work." Valak thought about everything she had learned about humans. They did indeed approach problems differently than any council species. Where the council planned carefully and followed proven methods, humans improvised and took risks. Where the Council valued safety and predictability, humans embraced chaos and uncertainty. "Commander," she said quietly, "perhaps we should consider their offer." "Dr. Velek," Zathura said, "you cannot be serious. These beings have never faced anything like what is happening at Kepler 442. "Neither have we," Velek replied. "Our proven methods are not working. Maybe it is time to try something unproven." The bridge was quiet for a long moment. Finally, Dr. Chun spoke again. "Commander, you asked if you could assist us when you first came to Earth. Now we are asking the same question about your people." Her voice carried a weight that Velek had not heard before. "Can we assist them?" Velek watched Zathara's face. She knew him well enough to see the war between his training and his desperation. Everything in his experience told him to follow Council protocols and refuse help from a primitive species. But 50 million lives hung in the balance, and conventional wisdom was failing. "You would risk your own people for strangers?" he asked. "In a heartbeat," Dr. Chen replied without hesitation. That simple phrase, delivered with such certainty, seemed to decide something for Zathara. He straightened and looked directly at the human delegation. "Dr. Chen, Colonel Martinez, you have 30 minutes to propose a strategy. If it shows any promise at all, we will implement it immediately." The Joint Human Council War Room buzzed with activity that would have horrified most galactic military commanders. Dr. Velek watched in fascination as humans and aliens worked together to plan what could only be described as controlled madness. The key is unpredictability. Colonel Martinez explained to the assembled fleet commanders through the holo display. These Ravager machines learn by observing patterns. Every time you use the same tactic twice, they adapt to counter it. So we never use the same tactic twice. Admiral Kethfer, a veteran council commander with silver scales and 4 arms, looked skeptical. "Colonel, warfare requires coordination. Our ships must work together using established formations and proven strategies. Without patterns, we have chaos." "Exactly," said Captain Rodriguez, a human naval officer who had joined the planning session. "We want chaos. Organized chaos." Velek saw Admiral Kethfer's eyes widen. In galactic military doctrine, chaos was the enemy of success. Yet here were humans proposing to use it as a weapon. "Show them the simulation," Dr. Chun said. The room's holographic projector lit up with a 3-dimensional battlefield. Council ships appeared in their traditional formations, neat, logical, efficient. Then the Ravager machines entered the simulation, swarming like angry insects. "Watch," Colonel Martinez said. Traditional Council tactics. The simulation played out. The Council ships fought bravely and skillfully, but within hours, the Ravagers had adapted to every strategy. Ship after ship fell to weapons specifically designed to counter their defenses. "Now watch our approach," Captain Rodriguez said. The simulation reset. This time, the Council ships moved in seemingly random patterns. Some ships charged directly at enemies that should have destroyed them. Others retreated when they should have pressed the attack. Formations broke apart and reformed in ways that made no tactical sense. "This is insane," Admiral Kethfer muttered. "Those maneuvers violate every principle of fleet combat." "Keep watching," Dr. Chen said quietly. The Ravagers tried to adapt. But every time they developed a counter to one human tactic, the humans switched to something completely different. Ships that had been fleeing suddenly turned and attacked. Formations that appeared chaotic revealed hidden coordination at the last moment. The machine's learning algorithms became confused, unable to predict what would come next. In the simulation, the joint force won. "This is just a computer model," Admiral Kethfer protested. "Real combat is different." "You're right," Colonel Martinez agreed. Real combat is messier and more unpredictable than any simulation. That's why our approach will work even better in practice. Velik watched the debate that followed. Council commanders raised valid concerns about the human plans. The tactics were dangerous, accepting casualty rates that would be considered unacceptable by galactic standards. Ships would be deliberately put at risk. Traditional safety protocols would be ignored. 30% expected casualties in the first engagement, Admiral Kethver said, reading from the tactical projections. This is barbaric. The alternative is 100% casualties for 50 million civilians, Captain Rodriguez replied bluntly. Sometimes you have to risk lives to save lives. Valak realized this was the fundamental difference between human and galactic thinking. The Council always tried to minimize immediate risk, even if it meant greater danger later. Humans were willing to accept short-term costs to achieve long-term goals. We need volunteers, Dr. Chun announced. Pilots and crews willing to try tactics that have never been tested. This only works if people are ready to adapt and improvise. To Velak's surprise, Admiral Kethver was the first to step forward. My flagship will take point position. If humans are willing to risk their lives for our people, the least I can do is match their courage. Other commanders followed. Within an hour, they had assembled a mixed fleet of council ships with human tactical advisors. The humans would provide unpredictable strategies while the council crews would handle the actual combat. The trip to Kepler 442 took 18 hours. Valak spent the time observing how humans prepared for battle. Council crews followed detailed pre-combat procedures, checking and double-checking every system. Humans did the same technical preparations, but they also did something else. She found Captain Rodriguez in the ship's observation lounge, looking out at the stars. The human was calm, almost peaceful, despite facing a battle that might kill them all. Are you not afraid? Valak asked. Terrified. Rodriguez replied honestly. But fear is just information. It tells me this is dangerous, which I already knew. The question is what I do with that information. What do you do with it? I use it to stay sharp. Fear keeps me from making stupid mistakes. But I do not let it stop me from doing what needs to be done. Valak thought about her own people. When faced with fear, they planned more, built better defenses, waited for safer opportunities. Humans seem to run toward danger instead of away from it. Why are you helping us? She asked. These are not your people. This is not your fight. Rodriguez was quiet for a moment. When I was a child, my city was hit by a massive earthquake. Buildings fell. People were trapped. My family was safe, but thousands of others needed help. I watched rescue workers from around the world come to help strangers they had never met. That taught me something important. What? Suffering is not a competition. When someone needs help, you help them. It does not matter if they are your species or your neighbor or someone on the other side of the galaxy. We are all in this together. Valak felt something she had never experienced before, the desire to be worthy of such trust. When they reached the Kepler 442 system, the situation was worse than anyone had expected. The Ravagers had consumed 2 of the 3 colony worlds. Their mechanical swarms were already attacking the main population center. Council evacuation ships struggled to reach the surface under heavy fire. All ships, this is Admiral Kethver, came the command frequency. Execute Human Tactical Plan Alpha. Remember, unpredictability is our weapon. Trust your human advisors. And do not think too hard about what you are doing. The battle that followed would be studied for centuries afterward by military historians who could not quite believe what they were seeing. Council ships dove directly into Ravager swarms, using their own hulls as weapons. Formations broke apart and reformed in patterns that made no sense until the last moment, when hidden strategies revealed themselves. Ships broadcast false retreat signals while actually preparing ambushes. Others transmitted surrender codes while launching surprise attacks. Velek watched from the Harmony's Edge bridge as Captain Rodriguez coordinated tactics that seemed designed by someone who had never learned what was impossible. All units, execute Maneuver 17, Rodriguez commanded. We do not have a Maneuver 17, Admiral Kethver replied. I know. Make one up. Something the enemy has never seen before. What followed was magnificent chaos. Every ship in the fleet improvised its own unique approach to the battle. The Ravager's adaptive systems, designed to counter logical patterns, found themselves facing pure creativity. The machines tried to adapt, but there was nothing consistent to adapt to. Just as their algorithms started to recognize a pattern, the humans would switch to something completely different. Enemy adaptation rate dropping, Crix reported from his station. Their learning protocols are becoming confused. Then, it is working, Zithar said with amazement in his voice. The tide of battle turned slowly, then all at once. Ravager ships that had been unstoppable began to fall. Their perfect coordination broke down as their artificial minds struggled to process tactics that made no logical sense. All Ravager forces are retreating, came Admiral Kethver's voice, filled with disbelief. Repeat, enemy forces are withdrawing from the system. The bridge erupted in celebration, but Velek noticed Captain Rodriguez was not smiling. What is wrong? Velek asked. They are not retreating, Rodriguez said quietly. They are learning. They will study what happened here and develop new countermeasures. Next time, they will be ready for chaos. So what do we do? Rodriguez looked at her with eyes that held both exhaustion and determination. We get more creative. The aftermath of the Kepler 442 battle changed everything. Dr. Velek stood in the rebuilt council chambers on Galactic Prime, watching representatives from dozens of species debate the future of their civilization. The humans sat quietly in the observers section, having declined offers of full council membership. The cost was too high, declared Councillor Vexthai, her crystalline form glowing with agitation. We lost 17 ships and over 3,000 crew members. No previous council engagement has resulted in such casualties. Admiral Kethver rose from his seat. His silver scales bore new scars from the battle, but his voice was strong. Counselor, we saved 50 million lives. Yes, we lost people. Good people. Heroes. But without human tactics, we would have lost everything. That is precisely the problem, said Counselor Morduk, his tentacles writhing with emotion. We have become dependent on alien methods that go against every principle of civilized warfare. Where does this lead us? Valak had heard these arguments for weeks now. The council was deeply divided about the human alliance. Some members saw humans as saviors who had revealed new possibilities. Others viewed them as dangerous influences who threatened galactic stability. Commander Zethara stood to address the assembly. Honored counselors, I have served the council for over 2 centuries. I have followed every protocol, obeyed every regulation, upheld every tradition. But I have learned something important from humans. Sometimes tradition is not enough. Explain yourself, Commander, said the Council Prime, an ancient being whose species was among the oldest in the galaxy. The Ravagers will return, Zethara said simply. Our intelligence confirms they are already rebuilding their forces. They have learned from our victory at Kepler 442. When they attack again, our traditional methods will not work. We need something new. So we abandon thousands of years of proven doctrine for the reckless ideas of a primitive species. Counselor Vexthai demanded. No, came a new voice. Dr. Chun entered the chamber, flanked by Colonel Martinez and Captain Rodriguez. You combine the best of both approaches. The Council Prime gestured for the humans to approach the central platform. Speak your proposal, Dr. Chun. We do not want you to abandon your methods, Dr. Chun said, addressing the entire assembly. Your careful planning and advanced technology are incredible assets. But you have become so focused on safety that you have stopped growing. We propose a new kind of military doctrine that combines Council precision with human adaptability. Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. We have been working with Admiral Kethver and other Council commanders to develop hybrid tactics. Structured chaos, if you will. Careful planning that leaves room for improvisation. Advanced technology used in unexpected ways. Show them, Admiral Kethver said. The chamber's holodisplay activated, showing a tactical simulation. Council ships moved with their traditional discipline, but their formations included deliberate gaps where human-advised units could operate independently. The result was a force that was both organized and unpredictable. Your ships provide stable firepower and defense, Colonel Martinez explained. Our units provide mobility and surprise. Together, we create something neither could achieve alone. Counselor Mordock studied the display. This requires Council crews to work closely with human advisors. To trust beings who think in ways we find disturbing. Yes, Dr. Chun said simply. It requires trust. Valak watched the debate that followed. Some Council members embraced the idea immediately. Others rejected it as too dangerous. But slowly, pragmatism won out over tradition. The Ravagers were still out there, growing stronger. The Council needed every advantage they could get. Very well, the Council Prime announced finally. We will establish a joint military training program. Council officers will study human tactics. Human advisors will learn our technology and procedures. Together, we will prepare for the next threat. The vote was close, but it passed. Valak felt something she had never experienced before, hope mixed with fear. The Council was changing, growing, adapting. It was frightening and exhilarating at the same time. After the session ended, Valak found herself walking with Dr. Chun through the gardens surrounding the Council chambers. Are you satisfied with the outcome? Valak asked. Dr. Chun shook her head. This is just the beginning. Real change takes time. There will be setbacks and failures. Some people will never accept new ways of thinking. Then why do you seem so happy? Because you are asking the right questions now. When we first met, you wanted to help us by making us more like you. Safe, stable, predictable. Now you are wondering if maybe you could learn something from us. Valak thought about this. What have we learned? That strength comes in many forms. Your species are masters of planning and coordination. Ours excels at adaptation and risk-taking. Separately, we each have limitations. Together, we might be unstoppable. They walked in comfortable silence for a while. The garden around them was a masterpiece of Council engineering. Perfectly designed, completely safe, utterly predictable. But Valak found herself wondering what it would look like with a few random elements, some pleasant surprises. Dr. Chun, she said finally, may I ask you something personal? Of course. When Commander Zethera first asked if we could assist your people, you accepted our help without hesitation. Why? Dr. Chun smiled. Because help offered freely should be accepted gracefully. When someone offers to make your life better, you say yes. But you also ask what you can do for them in return. Is that why you helped us at Kepler 442? Partly, but mostly because it was the right thing to do. When someone is in trouble, you help them. It does not matter if they are your friend or your enemy or a complete stranger. You help because that is what makes us worthy of help ourselves. Valak understood now why humans had survived on their dangerous world. It was not just their adaptability or their courage, though both were important. It was their willingness to risk everything for others, even for people they had never met. "What happens now?" Velok asked. "Now we learn from each other. Your people will discover that taking risks can lead to wonderful surprises. Our people will learn that careful planning makes those risks worth taking. And maybe, together, we will become something neither of us could have imagined." 3 months later, the first Joint Council human training facility opened on a space station orbiting Earth's moon. Velok watched through the observation windows as alien and human crews worked side by side. Learning each other's methods and creating something entirely new, she saw a council engineer showing humans how to build more efficient weapon systems. Nearby, a human instructor taught alien pilots how to fly in formations that seemed random but concealed deadly purpose. In the center of the training bay, Admiral Kethver and Captain Rodriguez stood together, planning exercises that would have been considered impossible just a year ago. Their crews worked with the easy efficiency of people who had learned to trust each other completely. "Remarkable," said a voice behind her. Velok turned to find Commander Zethara watching the same scene. "They make it look easy," Velok observed. "Perhaps it is easy once you stop being afraid of change." Zethara paused. "Dr. Velok, do you remember when I first asked if we could assist the humans?" "Yes. You were concerned about their survival. I was wrong about what kind of assistance they needed. They did not need us to make them safer or more like us. They needed us to see them as they really are, teachers disguised as students." Velok nodded. "And we needed them to show us that growth requires risk. That safety without purpose is just another form of death." On the train deck below, a mixed crew of humans and aliens successfully completed a maneuver that combined council precision with human unpredictability. Their celebration was loud and joyful, filling the observation area with sounds of laughter and congratulations. Velok smiled, an expression she had learned from humans. The future was uncertain and full of dangers. The Ravagers would return, probably stronger than before. Other threats would emerge from the depths of space. But for the first time in her long life, Velok was not afraid of uncertainty. She had learned something valuable from her human friends. The best way to face an unknown future was together, with courage, creativity, and the willingness to help each other no matter what. In the end, that was the answer to Zethara's original question. Could they assist the humans? Yes, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of saving humanity from their dangerous nature, the Council had learned to embrace danger as a path to growth. Instead of making humans more like themselves, they had allowed themselves to become a little more human. And in that exchange, both species had become something greater than they ever could have been alone.